They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. But some stories defy any photograph. This was supposed to be a simple assignment for me. A quick feature on a sleepy little town nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains. Coldwater, Virginia, the sign said. A place you'd pass through without a second thought. But that was before. Before the fog rolled in thicker than a shroud. And before the silence became so absolute, it felt like a physical weight on your chest. It was supposed to be an ordinary morning until the entire town vanished. I arrived just as the first slivers of dawn tried to pierce the gloom. The air was heavy, damp, carrying the scent of pine and something else. Something metallic and old, like a forgotten secret. The road was empty. No cars, no morning joggers, no signs of life at all. Just this abandoned signboard, creaking on its rusty hinges like a final, lonely sigh. Welcome to Coldwater, Virginia. It felt less like a welcome and more like a warning. My editor had laughed when I pitched the story. A disappearing town. Alex, you've been watching too many late-night movies. But the tip was solid, from a source I trusted. A frantic, garbled voicemail about strange lights. A low hum that vibrated through the ground. And then, nothing. The line went dead. The next morning, every phone line in and out of Coldwater was down. The state police reported the roads were impassable due to a sudden and localized weather event. It was all too neat. Too clean! My journalist's intuition was screaming. This wasn't a weather event. This was something else entirely. Standing airy on the edge of nothing, with the wind whispering through the trees. I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the morning air. It was the chilling realization that 212 people didn't just pack up and leave. They were gone erased. As I took my first tentative steps past that forsaken sign, a gust of wind skittered something across the asphalt. It was an old newspaper, brittle with age, yet strangely preserved. Primera picked it up. The headline was, "Stark, Impossible. 212 residents missing. Coldwater gone overnight." The date, it was from today, but the paper itself felt decades old. How was this possible? It was like the town, and everything in it, had been ripped from time itself. My camera felt heavy in my hand, suddenly inadequate. How do you document an absence? How do you capture a void? The main street stretched before me, a ghost of what it once was. Shops with faded signs, houses with dark, empty windows like vacant eyes. There were no signs of a struggle, no broken glass, no forced entries. Just emptiness. A coffee cup sat on a porch railing, steam still faintly rising from it, a phantom of a morning routine that was never finished. A child's tricycle lay on its side in a driveway. One wheel spinning slowly, pushed by the same ghostly wind. It was a perfectly preserved diorama of a town that had ceased to exist only moments ago. The people were gone, but their echoes remained. I walked past the diner, the Rusty Spoon. Through the window, I could see plates of food still on the tables, half-eaten breakfasts growing cold. It was a scene frozen in time, a modern-day Pompeii, but the volcano was unseen, unheard. What could do this? What kind of force could pluck an entire population from their lives, leaving everything else untouched? My mind raced through rational explanations: a government experiment, a mass evacuation I'd somehow missed, a bizarre cult, but none of it fit. The silence was the most unnerving part. No birds, no insects, just the low moan of the wind and the frantic thumping of my own heart. Every shadow seemed to stretch a little too long. Every flicker of movement in my peripheral vision made me jump. I felt watched. The empty houses, the vacant shops. They weren't just empty. They were waiting. I raised my camera, trying to anchor myself in the familiar routine of my job. Frame the shot, adjust the focus, capture the evidence. But what I was seeing didn't feel like evidence. It felt like a dream, a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The newspaper in my pocket felt like a cursed artifact, a dispatch from a future that had already happened. Deeper into the town, I found the local library. The doors were ajar, swinging gently. Inside, books were scattered on the floor, not in a mess, but as if they'd been dropped on a table. A librarian's checkout stamp lay next to an open book, a date stamper set to yesterday's date. It was a single, horrifying clue. Whatever happened, it happened fast, in the middle of a normal day. The story wasn't about a missing town anymore. It was about the question of where they went, and more terrifyingly, what if the thing that took them was still here? The low hum from the voicemail echoed in my memory. Now that I was listening for it, I could almost feel it. A subtle vibration under the soles of my shoes. A bass note, just below the threshold of hearing. It was the sound of the world holding its breath. This is Alex signing off. For now, I'm going deeper. I have to find out what happened to the people of Coldwater. I have to understand what's happening here. If you're watching this, it means I've found a way to get the signal out. It also means I might not be able to get out myself. Don't let this story disappear like the town did. Keep watching, keep asking questions, and if you're enjoying this journey into the unknown, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Every bit of support helps me bring these untold stories to light. Thank you for being here. Stay safe and stay curious. In the heart of Appalachia, nestled so deep within the winding mountain passes that it almost seemed forgotten by the modern world, lay the town of Elder. For generations, its people lived a quiet life, their days marked by the rising sun over the misty peaks and the gentle hum of a close-knit community. It was a place where everyone knew your name, where screen doors were never locked, and where the biggest news was often the winner of the annual county fair pie contest. But on the morning of October 14th, 2003, the sun rose to a terrifying silence. Eldersville and its 2,130 residents had vanished. Our journey begins where the official story ends, with an aerial view that still sends shivers down the spines of those who've seen it. Imagine a valley, cradled by ancient mountains, shrouded in a thick, ethereal fog. As the dawn's first light breaks through, it illuminates a scene of utter stillness. A weathered, broken signboard on the outskirts of town tells a stark tale. Eldersville population 2,130. But as we drift closer, a chilling realization dawns. There is no one here. The world holds its breath. The wind, which perpetually whispered through the pines, has ceased. The birds, once a symphony of morning song, are frozen in the sky, suspended in a moment of impossible silence. The camera pans over the empty streets of what was once a bustling town. It's a snapshot of a life interrupted. On a cafe patio, a cup of coffee steams, its warmth a ghostly testament to a patron who was there only moments before. Along Main Street, car doors hang ajar, keys still in the ignition, as if their driver simply stepped out and dissolved into thin air. In the front yard, a child's bicycle, its rainbow streamers fluttering, slowly rolls to a stop, its journey ending without its rider. The scene is not one of chaos or destruction, but of an eerie, surgical removal. Everything is left behind, except the people. They said the town of Eldersville vanished overnight, but the truth, as we will discover, lies buried deeper, and is far more disturbing than anyone dares to dig. The first responders to arrive on the scene were a small team from the neighboring county sheriff's department. What they documented that day reads less like a police report and more like a passage from a surrealist novel. They walked through homes where breakfast was still on the table, toast half buttered, orange juice poured. They found schools where choke-written equations were left unfinished on the blackboard, and backpacks lay scattered by lockers, waiting for owners who would never return. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence of a hurried evacuation, no footprints leading out of the valley. It was as if 2,130 souls had been plucked from existence in a single, silent instant. The official investigation, a massive multi-agency effort, lasted for 18 months. They brought in geologists to check for seismic activity or sinkholes. Meteorologists scoured data for any anomalous weather events. They even entertained theories of mass hysteria or a cult-like exodus. But every lead was a dead end. Every theory crumbled under the weight of a single, undeniable fact. Not a single person from Eldersville was ever seen or heard from again. The case was eventually closed, filed away under unexplained phenomena, a bureaucratic term for a mystery too profound to solve. The government declared the area a quarantine zone, citing unidentified environmental contaminants, and the valley was sealed off from the world. But that's not where the story ends. For years, Whispers and rumors have circulated in the shadowed corners of the internet. Among amateur sleuths and paranormal investigators, they spoke of strange lights seen in the sky over the valley in the weeks leading up to the disappearance. They shared hushed accounts from hunters who reported bizarre magnetic anomalies and compasses spinning wildly near the town's border. And then, a breakthrough. A few months ago, a collection of personal journals, home videotapes, and audio recordings were anonymously leaked online. They belonged to the residents of Eldersville, and they paint a picture of a town not living in blissful ignorance, but in the grip of a creeping, insidious dread. One of the most compelling pieces of this puzzle is the journal of Sarah Miller, a high school science teacher. In her early entries, she describes a strange, low-frequency hum that seemed to emanate from the ground itself. At first, she dismissed it as tinnitus, or industrial noise from a distant plant. But soon, her students began to complain about it too. They described it as a sound you felt more than heard, a vibration that settled deep in your bones. Sarah, being a woman of science, decided to investigate. Her later entries are filled with frantic notes and calculations. She documented fluctuations in the local electromagnetic field, readings that were, in her words, off the charts, impossible. She wrote about the fog, how it had grown thicker and lingered longer each day, and how it seemed to have a strange, almost oily iridescence to it. Then there's the video diary of the Henderson family. The initial tapes are what you'd expect. Birthday parties, family barbecues, a child's first steps, but the tone shifts dramatically in the final weeks. Mr. Henderson, a stoic farmer, becomes increasingly agitated. He films the sky, pointing his camera at what he calls the shimmers, distortions in the air, like heat haze. On a winter's day, in one chilling clip, filmed just 2 nights before the town vanished, the family's golden retriever, Buster, stands in the backyard, barking furiously not at a person or an animal, but at the empty, fog-filled woods. The dog's terror is palpable. In the background, you can hear Mrs. Henderson's trembling voice. He's been doing that for hours. It's like he sees something we can't. The audio logs from the town's small radio station, run by a man named Night Owl Norm, are perhaps the most harrowing. Norm ran a late-night call-in show, a place for the lonely and the insomniacs of Eldersville to connect. In the final broadcasts, the calls became increasingly bizarre. People reported missing time, waking up in different rooms of their house with no memory of how they got there. A frantic woman called in, whispering that she saw a face in her television static, a face that was all wrong. Norm, trying to be a calming voice, attempted to rationalize these fears, but in his final recording, a personal log not meant for broadcast, his composure is gone. His voice is a strained whisper. "It's not in our heads," he says. "It's the fog. It watches. I can feel it. I can feel it thinking." The tape ends abruptly with a sound that experts have been unable to identify, a high-pitched, chittering click, followed by static. What do all these pieces tell us? They point to a phenomenon that wasn't sudden, but gradual, an invasive presence that slowly enveloped the town. The hum, the magnetic anomalies, the strange fog, the shared experiences of missing time and psychological distress. It all suggests that the people of Eldersville were subjects in some kind of horrifying experiment. The question is, by whom? Or, perhaps, more terrifyingly, by what? The leaked data included geological surveys that Sarah Miller had been conducting. She had discovered that the town was built over a unique geological formation, a massive deposit of quartz crystal, interwoven with a network of deep, uncharted caverns. Could this geological feature have acted as some kind of amplifier or conduit? Let's connect the dots. We have a town built on a massive crystal lattice. We have reports of increasing electromagnetic and atmospheric disturbances. We have a population experiencing shared psychological phenomena. And we have a silent, observing fog. This wasn't an abduction in the classic sense. It wasn't a rapture. The evidence suggests a convergence, a point where our reality was temporarily overlaid by something else. The fog wasn't just weather, it was a medium. The hum wasn't just a sound, it was a frequency, slowly attuning the residents, the town, and everything in it, to a different state of being. Think of it like tuning a radio. For weeks, something was slowly turning the dial on Elder. The people were the signal, and the valley was the receiver. The static, the missing time, the sense of being watched. These were the side effects of the frequency shift. When Tafina clicked at Norm record it occurred, the tuning was complete. Eldersville and its 2,130 inhabitants didn't vanish into thin air. They were shifted, phased out of our dimension and into another, leaving behind only these ghostly echoes, these snapshots of a life interrupted. The empty streets, the steaming coffee, the rolling bicycle. They are the afterimage burned onto our reality. The true horror isn't that the people are gone, it's that they might still be there, existing in the exact same space, but on a different vibrational plane, just beyond our perception. Are they aware? Can they see us as we walk through the ghostly silence of their homes? The government's quarantine isn't to keep people out because of contaminants. It has to stop anyone from discovering that the phenomenon that consumed Eldersville might not be a one-time event, that the hum is still there, just below the threshold of our hearing, that on certain nights, when the fog rolls in just right, the veil between worlds grows thin. The story of Eldersville is a chilling reminder that there are mysteries in this world far beyond our comprehension. It's a warning that some places are best left alone, and some truths are buried for a reason. What happened in that quiet Appalachian Valley serves as a stark testament to the fragility of our own existence. They said it vanished overnight, but the truth is, it might still be waiting, silent and unseen, for the fog to roll in again. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of the most unsettling mysteries of our time. What do you think happened to the people of Eldersville? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the unknown and uncovering hidden truths, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more to investigate. Stay curious and stay safe. Have you ever felt a shiver run down your spine when you see something that's just off? Not scary in a jump scare way, but in a quiet, unsettling way. Like a playground swing moving on a windless day, or a song playing in an empty room. Today, we're diving deep into that feeling. We're going to explore a world that looks almost exactly like ours, but with one crucial difference. Everyone is gone. Imagine this. The late afternoon sun casts long shadows across a sleepy town square. Kids are laughing, chasing each other around the checkered tablecloths of a small diner. You can almost hear the clink of glasses and the sizzle from the kitchen. A postman, his bag heavy with letters full of news and gossip, gives a friendly nod to a neighbor watering her petunias. It's a perfect slice of life. A moment so ordinary it's beautiful. You see the smiles, the casual waves, the simple, everyday connections that weave a community together. Now, watch as the sun dips below the horizon. The sky bleeds from orange to purple. One by one, lights begin to flicker on in the windows of the houses that line the quiet streets. A family gathers for dinner, the silhouette of their conversation visible through the curtains. A student hunches over a desk, a single lamp illuminating their books. The town slowly, peacefully, drifts off to sleep. The streetlights cast a soft, golden glow on the empty sidewalks. The last light in the last house winks out. The town is blanketed in a comfortable, familiar darkness, resting, ready for a new day. But the new day doesn't come. Not in the way it should. The sun rises, painting the sky with the brilliant colors of dawn. But no one is there to see it. The town is silent, utterly, profoundly silent. The laughter of children is gone, replaced by an eerie stillness. The diner, which should be bustling with the morning rush, is deserted. Chairs are overturned, as if people left in a hurry. A half-eaten slice of pie sits on a plate, a fork resting beside it. A coffee cup on the counter is still steaming, a ghostly wisp rising into the cold air. The postman's bag lies abandoned on the sidewalk, letters spilling out onto the pavement, their secrets unread. The garden hose is still running, a small puddle forming around the now overwatered petunias. Inside the houses, it's the same story. A television flickers, displaying only static. A radio crackles, a disembodied voice from a distant station talking to no one. Breakfast is laid out on a kitchen table, toast getting cold in the rack, orange juice untouched. What happened here? Where did everyone go? It wasn't a disaster, not in the traditional sense. There are no signs of a struggle, no destruction, no chaos. It's as if every single person, in the middle of a breath, in the middle of a thought, simply vanished. They evaporated into thin air, leaving behind these hollow shells of their lives. These silent monuments to moments that were never finished. This scenario is a classic trope in fiction, from the Twilight Zone to modern video games and novels. It's called the empty world, or silent earth mystery, and the reason it fascinates us, the reason it gets under our skin, is because it taps into some of our most fundamental fears. The fear of being alone, the fear of being left behind, and the fear of the unknown. Think about it. We are social creatures. Our entire civilization is built on interaction, on community. To imagine a world stripped bare of that connection is to imagine the ultimate isolation. Walking through these empty streets, you wouldn't just be lonely. You would be a ghost in a world that has moved on without you. Every abandoned object, every unfinished task, would be a painful reminder of the life that was once there. The power of this mystery lies in the questions it forces us to ask. Was it a scientific experiment gone wrong? An alien abduction on a massive scale at Divinoraptor? Or something even stranger? Something our minds can't even begin to comprehend. The lack of an answer is what's truly terrifying. Our brains are hardwired to find patterns, to seek explanations. When we're presented with a puzzle like this, with no clues and no solution, it creates a deep sense of unease. Let's explore some of the most popular theories from fiction. One idea is the selective event. Perhaps a specific sound frequency, a flash of light, or a subatomic particle passed through the Earth, affecting only human beings and leaving everything else untouched. It's a clean, surgical removal. Another theory is a psychological one. What if this isn't reality at all? What if the lone survivor is actually in a coma? Their mind creating this empty world as a defense mechanism, or perhaps everyone has been transported to another dimension, leaving behind a single, unlucky individual. Each theory carries its own unique flavor of dread. If it was aliens, are they coming back for the planet itself? If it was a scientific accident, could it happen again? If it's a psychological prison, is there any escape? The narrative forces us to confront our own insignificance in the face of cosmic possibilities. The steaming coffee cup becomes the most terrifying object in the world, because it represents the impossibly small gap between then and now. Between a world full of life and one full of nothing. This concept makes us appreciate the mundane, the morning traffic, the crowded grocery store, the sound of your neighbor's lawnmower. These are the things that prove our world is alive. They are the background noise of our existence. Take that away, and you're left with a silence that is deafening. You're left standing in the middle of a perfectly preserved museum of a world that died in its sleep. What would you do if you woke up one morning and you were the last person on Earth? Where would you go first? What would be the first thing you'd feel? Fear, or a strange kind of freedom? It's a haunting question, and one that reveals a lot about what we value most. The objects we leave behind tell a story, and in this silent world, it's a story with the final chapter ripped out. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the quiet apocalypse. It's a chilling thought, but also a powerful reminder to cherish the connections and the simple, everyday moments of our lives. If you found this exploration as fascinating as I did, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It really helps us create more content like this. We love diving into these big questions with you. Until next time, stay curious and appreciate the noise. Static crackles softly, then fades into a low, ominous hum. Hello? Is anyone there? Can you hear me? If you're getting this, you need to listen. Please, just listen. My name is, it doesn't matter. I'm the sheriff of this town, or I was. Now, I'm just a voice in the dark. A warning you can't afford to ignore. Look around you. This office. It used to be my sanctuary, a place of order. Now, it's a tomb. Look at these files, scattered like fallen leaves. Each one a life, a story I was supposed to protect. The phone's off the hook, but there's no one on the other end. Hasn't been for days. The line is as dead as everything else out there. See the map? Every red pin. That's not a case solved. It's a disappearance. A person gone. It started with one, old Mr. Abernathy from the edge of town. We talked. Eddie just wandered off. Then another, and another. The pins multiplied like a disease, spreading across our home. We searched, we formed parties, combing the woods, the old mines, every abandoned barn. We found nothing, no clues, no signs of a struggle, just emptiness. It's like the earth just opened up and swallowed them whole. The lights you see flashing outside, that's my patrol car. It's been running for 3 days now. Ran out of gas this morning. There's no one to turn it off. No one to answer the calls that have long since stopped coming. It's just me, and this radio, and this whispers. It started a week ago, a faint crackle on the line, just beneath the static. I thought it was interference. But then it got clearer, a voice. It wasn't human. It was bold, ancient. It spoke in a language I didn't know, but somehow I understood. It wasn't speaking to me. It was calling something. That's when people started vanishing, not just at night. In broad daylight, from their front porches, their backyards, from the middle of Main Street. 1 minute, they were there, the next. Just a space where a person used to be. Panic set in. People locked their doors, boarded their windows, but it didn't matter. The locks wouldn't hold. The walls weren't a barrier. It wasn't breaking in. It was phasing through. I tried to call for help. State police, National Guard, anyone. The lines were dead. The radios only carried that one, single, horrifying broadcast. The whispers grew into a chant, a ritual. It was a summons, and something answered. I saw it. Once. Just a glimpse through these blinds. It wasn't solid. It was like a tear in the fabric of reality. A silhouette of pure, starless night. It had no shape, no form, but it had presence. An ancient, suffocating weight that crushed the air out of your lungs. It moved without moving, drifting through the streetlights, and where it passed, the lights flickered and died. It wasn't from here. It wasn't from anywhere we can comprehend. I barricaded the door, pushed every desk, every filing cabinet against it. A foolish, human gesture. An attempt to keep the inevitable out. But I knew it wouldn't work. It doesn't need a door, the whispers. They're inside my head now. They're not on the radio anymore. The radio's gone quiet, all except for this glowing light. This is the only frequency that seems to cut through, the one I'm using right now. I don't know why. Maybe it wants a witness. Maybe it wants its story told. They're all gone. Everyone. I walked through the town square yesterday. It was Selene. Toys left in the park, cars abandoned, mid-turn, doors hanging wide open. It's a ghost town, but there are no ghosts. Just the memory of what was. The silence is the loudest thing be ever heard. It's a physical pressure, a constant scream that never ends. The voice is promising things. It speaks of release, of joining a chorus that will sing for 1,000,000 years. It says the flesh is a cage, and it has the key. It tells me not to be afraid, but I am. I'm terrified, because a small, traitorous part of me, the part that has been worn down by fear and loneliness, is starting to listen. It sounds like peace, like an end to this waking nightmare. Why am I telling you this? Because this isn't just about my town. This is a broadcast, a test. What happened here? It's a prelude. This thing, this void, it's hungry. And our world is a banquet. It learned how to open a door here, and soon it will learn how to open doors everywhere. It's coming for me now. I can feel it. The air is getting cold. The shadows in the corners of the room are stretching. They're darker than they should be. That hum is getting louder. It's the sound of the universe holding its breath. Don't try to find this town. Don't try to be a hero. It's already lost. This is just an echo. A final message in a bottle from a shipwreck you can't even see. If you hear the whispers on your radio, if the static starts to sound like a voice, turn it off. Run. Don't look back. Don't try to understand it. You can't fight a shadow. You can't reason with an abyss. My hand is shaking. It's getting hard to think. The words, the whispers are beautiful in their own terrible way. They're unmaking me, stripping away my name, my memories, my fear. Soon, I'll be just another pin on the map, another empty space, where a person used to be. But maybe this warning will be my legacy. Maybe it will make a difference. It's here. I can see it through the wood of the door. The darkness is bleeding through. It's beautiful. Goodbye. And good luck. The humming intensifies, followed by a sharp crack of static, and then absolute silence. Have you ever heard a story that sends a chill down your spine? Not because it's gory, but because it's just a story where every clue only deepens the mystery, and the line between reality and the bizarre becomes impossibly blurred. Today, we're delving into one such case. A disappearance that baffled investigators and left a small town haunted by questions. This is a journey into the heart of an enigma, where the woods hold secrets, and the truth remains just out of reach. Our story begins in the quiet, unassuming town of Oakhaven, a place where everyone knows everyone, and life moves at a gentle pace. But on a crisp autumn morning, that tranquility was shattered. A frantic call to the local sheriff's office reported a missing person, a local historian and folklore enthusiast named Alistair Finch. He was last seen heading into the sprawling Blackwood Forest, a place he knew like the back of his hand. But this time, he didn't return. Initially, it was treated as a standard missing person case. Local search and rescue teams fanned out, their bright jackets a stark contrast against the somber greens and browns of the forest. They combed the familiar trails, called his name until their voices were hoarse. But the only response was the rustling of leaves. As hours turned into days, a growing sense of unease settled over Oakhaven. Alistair wasn't just an amateur hiker. He was an expert navigator. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. The local effort soon escalated. The case's strange nature caught the attention of federal authorities. Black SUVs, the kind you only see in movies, rolled into the small town. Their sirens silent, but their presence deafening. FBI agents, with their stern faces and professional demeanor, began coordinating with local law enforcement. Suddenly, Oakhaven was the center of a major federal investigation. The woods that were once a playground for local kids were now a massive, grid-searched crime scene. From the air, the scale of the operation was staggering. Helicopter footage showed lines of searchers moving meticulously through the dense undergrowth, their progress painstakingly slow. High-tech drones were deployed, their cameras scanning every inch of the winding rivers and open fields that bordered the vast forest. They were looking for any sign, any disturbance, any clue that could point to Alistair's whereabouts. But the forest, it seemed, was determined to keep its secrets. As the search on the ground intensified, investigators turned their attention to Alistair's life, hoping to find a lead. They entered his secluded cabin, a place filled with books, maps, and artifacts. It was less of a home and more of a personal museum dedicated to local history and forgotten lore. Among the dusty tomes and neatly filed research papers, they found his latest project. He had been obsessively studying a series of strange occurrences in Blackwood Forest, dating back centuries. The evidence they collected was perplexing. They bagged journals filled with Alistair's frantic, almost illegible handwriting. They found old, faded photographs of the forest from 100 years ago, with certain areas circled in red ink. But the most unsettling discovery was a collection of sketches. Alistair had been documenting strange, cryptic symbols he found carved into the ancient trees, deep within the woods. These weren't random carvings. They were intricate, deliberate, and unlike anything the investigators had ever seen. The agents took these symbols into the forest, and sure enough, they found them. Carved into the bark of old oaks and pines, hidden away from the main trails, were the same symbols from Alistair's journals. They were weathered, as if they'd been there for decades, or even longer. What did they mean? Were they a warning, a map, or something else entirely? The mystery was deepening, pulling the investigators further into a puzzle that seemed to have no logical solution. The case went cold. Despite one of the most extensive search operations in the state's history, not a single trace of Alistair Finch was ever found. No body, no clothing, no backpack. It was as if he had walked into the forest and simply vanished from the face of the earth. The FBI eventually packed up. The national media moved on, and Oak Haven was left alone with its ghost. But the story doesn't end there. The enigma of Blackwood Forest and the strange symbols only grew. Years later, a new generation of amateur sleuths and urban explorers, armed with the internet and a thirst for mystery, rediscovered Alistair's case. They pored over the declassified files, analyzed the strange symbols, and ventured into Blackwood Forest themselves, hoping to succeed where law enforcement had failed. They found the symbols still there, silent witnesses to Alistair's last journey. Some believe he stumbled upon a hidden community, a secret society that still practices ancient rituals in the woods. Others whisper that the symbols are a gateway, and Alistair found a door to another place, a place from which he could not return. The theories are endless, each one more fantastic than the last, because the truth, whatever it may be, remains hidden. Alistair Finch walked into the woods and became a part of their folklore, a modern legend born from an unsolved mystery. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the unexplained. What do you think happened to Alistair Finch? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoy stories that challenge what we think we know, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into the unknown. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video. Today, we delve into one of the most baffling disappearances in modern history. The case of Ethelberg, the town that vanished overnight. For decades, the official story has been a simple, yet unsatisfying one. A catastrophic geological event, a massive sinkhole that swallowed the town whole. But the evidence, or rather the lack of it, tells a different story. We've gained access to a source, an individual who has spent a lifetime piecing together what they believe truly happened to the 2,000 souls of Ethel. For their safety, we called him the archivist. Voice changes to a distorted, deeper tone. They want you to believe it was a sinkhole. It's clean, it's easy, it closes the book. But have you ever seen the survey data? The seismic reports from that night? There's nothing, absolutely nothing to indicate a natural disaster of that magnitude. I've spent 30 years analyzing every scrap of information, every redacted document I could get my hands on. What happened in Ethelberg wasn't an act of God. It was an act of something else. Look at this map. This isn't just a collection of old newspaper clippings. This is a timeline of anomalies. Strange lights in the sky reported 4 weeks leading up to the event. Unexplained power surges that fried electronics across the county. Livestock behaving erratically. These weren't isolated incidents. They were building towards something. And at the center of it all, this building right here, the old observatory on the hill, officially decommissioned years prior. Yet, records show massive power consumption spikes from that location in the final 72 hours. What were they powering up there? Voice returns to normal narrator. The archivist's claims are startling. To understand what was lost, we must first remember what was there. Ethelberg wasn't just a pin on a map. It was a thriving community, nestled in the quiet valleys of the region. Founded in the late 1800s, it was a picturesque town, the kind you see on postcards. Main Street was lined with family-owned shops. The town square, with its old oak tree and weathered bandstand, was the heart of the community. Everyone knew everyone. They had annual Founders' Day parades, summer fairs, and Friday night football games that brought the entire town together. These images, salvaged from archives and family collections before they were ... classified, show a vibrant, living place. You can see the smiles, the life in their eyes. Children playing in the streets, families having picnics by Miller's Creek. The graduating class of '78 standing proudly on the steps of the high school. These weren't just statistics, they were people. They had hopes, dreams, futures that were erased in a single night. Voice changes back to the archivist. You have to understand the pattern. It's always in these quiet, isolated places. Places where no one looks too closely. They were studying something in The town was built on a unique convergence of geological and electromagnetic lines. Un natural amplifié. The official story is a cover-up, one of the most successful in history. They didn't just lose a town. They took Italian. It was a test and an experiment, and the people of Ethelberg were the subjects. The strings on this wall, they don't just connect newspaper clippings. They connect other towns, other incidents, stretching back decades. Ethelberg wasn't the first, and I'm afraid it won't be the last. The key is in the radio's silence. In the hours leading up to the disappearance, all communication in and out of the town was cut. Not just phone lines. Everything. Ham radio operators for 100 miles reported a strange, low-frequency hum that drowned out all other signals. It wasn't a jam. It was a broadcast. Something was being emitted, and it was blanketing the entire valley. The last garbled transmission from the sheriff's office wasn't a call for help. It was just one word, repeated over and over. Singing. They said. The ground was singing. Voice returns to normal narrator singing. An unsettling word. What could it mean? The official incident report, heavily redacted, mentions mass auditory hallucinations. But how does an entire town of 2,000 people experience the exact same hallucination simultaneously? And how does that hallucination lead to them, and the town they lived in, ceasing to exist? The only physical evidence left at the site is a perfectly circular, vitrified crater, 2 miles in diameter. The ground isn't just gone, it's been turned to a smooth, black glass, meters deep. Geologists have stated that the temperatures required to do this exceed that of a volcanic eruption. There's no debris, no rubble, no trace of the buildings, the cars, the people. It's as if the town was scooped out of the earth with surgical precision. What happened on that fateful night? Was it a failed secret experiment? As the archivist suggests, a weapons test gone horribly wrong. Or could it be something even more bizarre? Something from beyond our own understanding. The families of the lost were told to move on, to accept the unacceptable. But questions, like echoes, have a way of lingering. The disappearance of Ethelberg is more than just a cold case. It's a chilling reminder that there are corners of our world that we do not understand. Places where the known rules of physics seem to bend, and where entire communities can be wiped from existence, leaving behind only silence and questions. The files may be closed, the records sealed, but the truth is still out there, waiting in the echoes of a town that was. We will continue to investigate, to pull at the threads the archivist has shown us. The 2,000 souls of Ethelberg deserve more than a convenient explanation. They deserve the truth. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you have any information or theories about the Ethelberg disappearance, please share them in the comments below. We read every single one, and if you find these unsolved mysteries as compelling as we do, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Unsolved Echoes for more deep dives into the stories that haunt our history. Stay curious and stay safe. We'll see you next time. The forest at night has a language all its own. It's not in the rustling leaves or the snap of a distant twig. It's in the silence. The deep, heavy silence that presses in on you. Thick and suffocating like the fog that clings to these ancient trees. We're deep in the Blackwood Pines, miles from the nearest town, chasing a story that most people have dismissed as a local ghost tale. But the deeper we go, the more I feel it. That cold, prickling sensation on the back of my neck. The feeling of being watched. Te Kalit, Te Whispering Woods. But tonight, there are no whispers. Just this oppressive quiet. And the fog, it's not natural. It rolls in waves, swallowing the moonlight, turning familiar shapes into monstrous silhouettes. Our compasses started spinning uselessly about a mile back. GPS, Forget it. It's as if this part of the forest exists outside of time, outside of the maps we so confidently rely on. We're following the only thing we can. A faint, pulsing glow that seems to emanate from the very heart of the woods. Every step feels like a trespass. The air is heavy with the smell of damp earth and something else. Something vaguely metallic and sweet, like old pennies in decay. The stories say that people who wander too far into Blackwood Pines are never seen again. They become part of the silence, another forgotten whisper in the trees. It's easy to dismiss those as campfire tales when you're safe in your home. But out here, with the darkness as your only companion, those tales feel terrifyingly real. We've been hiking for what feels like hours, drawn forward by that inexplicable light. It never seems to get closer. Always just ahead, a phantom beacon in the gloom. It's hypnotic. You find yourself focusing on it so intently that you stop paying attention to the gnarled roots that trip you or the low-hanging branches that snag your clothes. It's a lure. But what is it luring us to? According to the old county records we dug up, there used to be a small, self-sufficient settlement here called Havens Hollow. It thrived for a few decades in the late 1800s, a community of loggers and their families. Then, in the winter of 1893, it just vanished. Every single resident. A traveling merchant arrived one spring morning to find the town completely empty. Food was still on the tables, fires were cold in the hearths, but the people were gone. No signs of a struggle, no tracks leading away, just an entire town erased. Authorities at the time chalked it up to a sudden migration, or perhaps a disease that swept through so quickly it left no trace. But the local tribes, the ones who had lived in these woods for centuries, had a different explanation. They spoke of a light that would appear in the forest, a light that called to people, drawing them away from the safety of their homes. They said the forest itself had claimed the people of Havens Hollow, and now we're seeing that light. It's getting brighter, pulsating with a soft, ethereal rhythm, like a slow heartbeat. And through a break in the fog, I can see a shape taking form, a structure, a dark, angular silhouette against the eerie glow. It's a house, standing alone, impossibly preserved in the middle of this suffocating wilderness. The light seems to be coming from within, spilling out of a grimy, broken window. We're getting closer now. The sense of being watched has intensified 100-fold. It feels like every tree has eyes. Every shadow holds a waiting figure. The house looks wrong. The architecture is from the right period, but it's the condition. It's dilapidated, sure, but it shouldn't be standing at all after more than a century of neglect. It's as if it's been frozen in a state of perpetual decay. The porch sags. The wood is blackened and moss-covered, but the structure is fundamentally intact. We're at the edge of what must have been its yard. A rusted, wrought iron fence, mostly swallowed by weeds and thorny vines, marks the perimeter. The air here is colder still, and that sweet, metallic smell is much stronger. My heart is pounding against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the forest's silence. Every instinct is screaming at me to turn back, to run and not stop until the sun is high in the sky. But the mystery, the pull of the unknown, it's stronger. We're on the porch now. The wooden planks groan under our weight, the sound unnaturally loud in the stillness. We can see the front door. It's made of heavy, dark wood, scarred by time. The paint has long since peeled away, and a large, ornate iron handle hangs from it. As we stand here, hesitating, a low, drawn-out groan echoes from the house. It's a sound I've only ever heard in movies. The slow, deliberate creak of a heavy door swinging open on rusted hinges. And just like that, the door to the abandoned house begins to open, albeit itself, revealing a pitch-black interior and inviting us into the heart of the vanishing town.